All right, this video is to tell you how to use the graphing piecewise defined function tool on ALEKS. If you want to know how to graph a piecewise function, this is not the video where I'm going to talk extensively about it. There is a video posted. You can go watch that video right now. I'll talk about how to do it. This is just how to use this tool, really. So the explanation is going to be brief. All right, there's a lot of things here. One, you have a hollow dot. Two, you have a solid dot. You have lines. Lines are going to go in both directions. Rays start at a point and then go off in another direction. So they have an end, whereas a line doesn't. This is the parabola shape. And this is a cutting tool. And this is a plot tool to plot points. So if I'm looking first, x squared plus 1 if x is less than 1. What I do, I take my parabola shape because x squared plus 1 is a parabola. And I'm just going to graph x squared plus 1. I know it's a parabola shifted up 1 unit. Bam. It asks you to place the vertex, so I placed the vertex first. And maybe I should be more clear about that. Your tool has you on the vertex already. So what you're doing when you plot this guy is you're plotting the vertex of the parabola. So I am plotting, and now it's going to ask me which direction the curve opens. And x squared plus 1, it hasn't been reflected, so it's going to open up. And then you need to place another point to graph this parabola. I'm going to plug in a value less than 1, so I'm going to plug 0 in. If I plug in 0, I get the y value 1. Oops, sorry, 0 is not going to work. Let's plug in negative 1. Negative 1 squared is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So we're going to put the point negative 1, 2 plotted. You can zoom in and you can see plotted. I couldn't use 0 because I already had a point plotted at 0. That was the problem there. Now, this is only true. Oops, zoom out. We only use this portion of the graph if x is less than 1. So I'm going to need to cut the graph. I'm going to need to cut the graph right here because this is 1. I need it to stop right here. So you're clicking on the cut tool. The cut tool is going to ask you to plot the point where you want it to be edited. So if I look on this graph, this is the point 1, 2. That's where I want it to stop because that's where x is equal to 1. That's where the graph starts. So I'm plotting in here 1, 2, plot point. It's going to make this really big cross figure. You're then able to click on the cut on the erase tool and erase this portion. And I think erase the cut too. No, not that. If you don't have the cut tool on a parabola, when you go to do erase, it'll erase the whole thing. So that's why we have to do the cut tool, put in the point 1, 2, plot that point, take the eraser and erase the other portion. At this portion right here, we need to have an open circle because it says if x is strictly less than 1. So we're putting an open circle. Next, if x is equal to 1, we have the point 2. So I'm taking the solid dot and plotting it where that open dot is because just so coincidentally, that's how this graph works. So plotting my closed circle at 2. Then 7 minus 5x, if x is greater than 1, you have 2 options. You can plot the line, the complete line 7 minus 5x, y-intercept of 7, down 5, over. You could plot it like that. Put in your cut point because there's going to be a cut point right here, and then erase this portion. So the cut point is going to be at the same place. It's going to be at 1, 2, which I guess I don't actually need to put in because there was already a cut point there. I can erase this. Be sure, I was going to say be sure to erase this x here, but I don't think it's going to let me. There it is. Beautiful. Is it continuous? Yes, it's continuous. Oops, I didn't want to do check. Yay, it's right. Let me do one more. All right, 1 minus x squared, and then negative 2x plus 2. First part, 1 minus x squared. This has been transformed. It's a parabola. It's been transformed. It's been shifted. It's reflected and then shifted up 1. It'll end up looking like this. I need to plot another point, so I'm plugging in a value like 1. If I plug in 1, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you plug in a value that falls in this range or not. It's going to plot the parabola either way. Plugging in 1, you're going to get 1 minus 1, 0. So the y value is 0 at 1. I'm using the cut tool to cut at 1, because that's when that portion breaks. Right? We're trying to cut it off right here at x equals 1. That's the point, 1, 0. Using the eraser tool to erase anything that's greater than 1. There's no underline, so I'm putting a hollow dot. For this next one, so the previous way I showed you was plotting the entire line, but you can also use the ray tool if you want to use that instead and not use the cutting tool. So you have that option. If you're going to use the ray tool, you need to figure out where to plot your first point. That's going to come from plugging this cutting point right here, 1, into this function. So if we plug in 1, we get 0. So our first point is at 1, 0. Slope is negative 2 down 2 over 1. There's an underline here, so we're putting a closed circle. Is it continuous? Yes. Let me pause it and find one that has that's discontinuous. Give me a sec. All right, here we go. This one's actually kind of interesting because it also, it doesn't go infinitely off the graph. I'm gonna plot this guy first. I'm not gonna talk about how I'm plotting it anymore. I'm just going to do it. Let's see, that should be here. Yeah. All right, I need to cut this guy off at -4, so I'm looking at -4. And I need to put a cut point there. So that's going to be, hopefully, -4, -5. Oh, is it? Okay, let's zoom all the way in. Okay, I'll just plug it in. -4 plugged into this, that's -6. If I plug in -4 to the function, it's -6. I was trying to be lazy. It's -4, -6. At least it tells you if you don't have the right point. I'm cutting it off there. I'm using the eraser tool to erase this portion. Underline, so I'm doing a closed circle. Then at 4, I also need to cut it off. That's also going to be it's going to be at 4, -6. Erasing this portion. There should be an open circle. For the next portion, again, you have options. You can either use the ray or the line tool. I'm just going to use the line tool here. Y-intercept of -5. Slope is -1. I need to cut off at 4. So if I go for 4, that's going to be the point 4, -9. Cutting tool, 4, -9. Underline, so a closed circle. Erase the portion over here. Oh, I forgot to answer this. This is not continuous. Bam. So hopefully that helps with that tool a bit. The really big thing is being able to use this cut tool efficiently and understand that it goes in conjunction with the eraser tool. If you have questions, let me know. But otherwise, I hope that helps a little bit. Bye.